short section. They don't have a lot of time for programming set aside in this beginning course. That's why my entire second class is devoted to it. But you get a little taste of it here in this project. And in the end, in our last tutorial, you're going to learn how to add these scripts into your demo that you just made. Okay. So in my demo, I had some platforms that were moving side to side and some that were spinning around. And that makes it a lot more interesting for the balls to fall down and because it creates some chance, some variance every time it goes by. It may not fall through, or it may. So this is going to give you a lot of power, being able to write some scripts that do this and then put it into your level. The essentials of programming in Unity. So some of the main things you're going to learn here is that you actually need to use a separate program to write code in. And I'm going to do a little demonstration on how to do that real quick because it's a little different than how the Unity tutorials tell you how to do it, in that your student accounts are locked down in a weird way by the IT department. So we have to do a little workaround on things to make this work right. So I'm going to randomly pick somebody's computer and demonstrate on theirs, and I want everybody else to follow along with me. Okay. So I'm going to hopefully pick somebody that already has Unity open. So that'll make it easier. But I'm going to show you how to launch this other program because in the tutorial, let's go ahead and jump into that first one called Getting Started with Scripts. First, they talk about what is an IDE. That just stands for Independent Development Environment. Just basically a fancy way of saying it's a separate program for writing your code. And there's a lot of advantages for doing so, but this will communicate directly with Unity. So when you update code and save it, and go back to Unity, it'll automatically update inside your project. So you'll be able to see your code working in the game right then when you hit play. Okay, so, and that's exciting and very powerful. But writing code can be overwhelming for students when they first start. That's specifically why we only have a very short project for it in this class. So this is really just an overview, but you are going to actually create your first script as well and be able to use that in your game. Okay, so one very important thing here they talk about, when they say install IDE. You can't do that because you're a student and you're not allowed to install anything on the computers technically. But this is still a good thing to know when you're at home or on another computer that's not here. So definitely read over this. Uh, One really important thing here, which I'm going to demonstrate in just a second, is that you're going to have to go into the preferences in Unity and tell it which code program you want to specifically use. And that's important because then your project can communicate with it directly and you'll have all the power. So make sure that you actually do this in just a second whenever I demonstrate for you. Yeah, so all this stuff you have to add modules. Again, you can't do that as a student because that requires installing things. So don't try to do any of the installing steps. Just gonna follow along with what I'm gonna show you real quick. Okay, so in here they show you how to create your first script. We'll do that real quick too, just because it's really fast and easy as long as I can find someone with Unity open. Okay, quickly talk about the other two tutorials, then I'll show you how to create your first script in Visual Studio Code. Okay, so just dissecting this picture right here. Screenshot. Yeah, you'll have to look up here, or you'll see it more closely when you go to it on Canvas, but see if I can make this big enough. All right, so when you make your first script, there's some code in here already. This is the default, and they're gonna have you change some things. Specifically, they want you to define a variable. It's a string variable, which is just a sequence of characters, and you're gonna call that string my message, and you always end your code here with a semicolon. Semicolon is right next to the L key on your keyboard. All right, and then inside the update function, down at the bottom here, it says void update parentheses and then some curly brackets. You're going to put this exact code that's circled in pink inside those curly brackets. That's one important part about code is think about these curly brackets as containers, right? So you have to open and close the container to contain your code within each class, within each function, and so on. So that's exactly what they show you how to do in this tutorial. Make your first script. It'll look like this. Have an empty start and an empty update function. Inside those, you're going to put the code I just showed you on the Canvas assignment. I think at first they tell you to put it inside the start function, and then you see it inside the console. All right, so enough talking. Let's get right to it. Just know that in the last tutorial here, there's some code examples they give you. Let's scroll down to show you here. So how to increment the scale of something. In my game, you may have noticed that the ball, as it was rolling, was changing size. Like it was sort of turning into a football shape as it was rolling. So I did that by using this code and putting it on the ball in the scene. So they show you what to define here, and then in the code example, you can see inside the update function, which runs every frame, so it runs constantly. It says transform.local scale plus equals scale change. So what that means is it's going to constantly change based on the vector3 scale, which is defined at the top. Okay, so all of what I'm saying may be very confusing, and I understand that. Just know that follow the steps just like always. Here we go. We're going to make our first script together, and then I'll read the survey. Let me unblank you, and then let me randomly pick somebody. I think this program actually has something for randomly picking, but I'm just going to pick somebody that I see has Unity open. It's Isaac. You're the winner. Okay. All right. So Isaac's got his Unity project open, and he wants to write his first script to put inside his game to make some cool things happen. So we're probably going to put that, depending on what kind of script he's writing, probably going to put that on his ball here. All right. But in the beginning, in this, we're just going to make a very simple script. So, is everybody ready to follow along? Got your Unity project open? Okay. So while their projects are opening, what I want to share everybody is you've got this shortcut on your desktop. It's a blue icon. It's called code.exe. This is going to launch code editing program just by double clicking it. All right, so it should look like this, and you may get some kind of error messages popping up or updates and stuff like that. You can just close them out if you get any kind of messages. All right, so this is Visual Studio Code, and it's really awesome. There's so many things you can do with it. You can pretty much code in any programming language you want. It's free. You can make it portable, so you can put it on any computer without installing, which is great for us. Yeah, see, there's an update. It's okay. We don't need that. Just hit the X. All right. So now that we got that code program open, we can go into Unity. And inside of Unity, we can make a script. We can make our first script. So just like we create anything else in our project, we just want to hit the little plus sign underneath project, and all the way towards the top, right under folder, is C# script. Click that, and immediately don't click, because if you click, you're going to name your script wrong. We want to name our script Hello World HELLOWORLD. So if you did click somewhere else, that's okay. You can fix it, but it's much faster if you just go ahead and delete it and then redo it again. So C# script, and as soon as you click on it, start typing hello world. Okay. Now I don't want to do that again, so I'm going to delete this script. You should. You should always capitalize your scripts because your script name is the same name as your class name. You're probably saying, what's a class? Well, a class is just a term in coding for defining a section of stuff. That's the best way to describe it. Okay, so Isaac, let's try this again. Right in your main assets folder, let's make a script. Now you could make a folder also and call it your scripts folder and put multiple scripts in there if you want to stay organized. But let's just do it again. Inside your Unity project, +sign C# script. And then go ahead and type it, Isaac, hello world. Doesn't capitalize it. Okay. It's okay, Isaac, that doesn't matter. It'll still work. All right. So now, all we have to do is right click on that script and go to Show in Explorer. It's going to show us exactly where the C# file is. And then we can simply drag that over into our code program. Boom. All right. So now we can close out that window and Isaac can start typing in his actual code to follow along with the tutorial, which he doesn't have open. It's okay. All right. So something else that you may need to know, just because we created that script in the project, it's not actually doing anything in the scene, right? So they will show you in the tutorial that you can place this script on anything you want in the scene. So right now, this code is not doing anything. There's no code inside the functions to run. So nothing will happen even if we do go ahead and put this on an object. So you see there, I just drug it from the project and dropped it on the sphere. And that did indeed put it on his object right here. See, it says hello world. Ready to go. Okay. Yeah, so experiment with all different types of things that you can add. Like I said, the scale on this last tutorial makes whatever object you want change size over time. And then there's also increment position and increment rotation. So both of these bits of code right here, I put into my game in order to make those platforms move around like this. So you can see the first platform right there is position is being changed over time. This is in play mode, of course. And the second object here, its rotation is being changed over time. So you could have that as two separate scripts, or you could have a script that does both. That's totally up to you.